What's poppin', Rockstars? My name is MT, and oh my god, someone traveled to 2001 and called Jack Bauer because Lady Loki just bombed the sacred timeline. How rude! The Timekeepers were working hard on that for a long time, before time, in a land before time, known as the TVA. I mean, supposedly, because like Mobius, I've never met the Timekeepers personally, so for all I know, Renslayer could be doing all the work while the Timekeepers are on the top floor playing Galaga.
That man is playing Galaga.
But why the hell are these Timekeepers so elusive anyway? How come they never want to kick it at the water cooler? I mean, Casey looks like a nice guy. I mean, what is the Timekeepers' big secret that they care so much to keep as classified as possible? I mean, this pissed off Lady Loki variant clearly has enough of a problem with them to send a warehouse full of freaking timeline bombs to destroy everything that the TVA stands for. What secret plans are the Timekeepers keeping from everybody that has this feisty female frost giant wanting to kick them in the asshole? Well, let's go on and speculate, Speculation Nation, because your boy, once again, has a very weird but I think interesting theory, because I think the Timekeepers are secretly the Time Twisters. No, I don't mean those little devices Mobius uses on Loki to loop him into submission. These TVA Time Twister devices are actually an Easter egg for one of the arch enemies of the Timekeepers and the Time Variance Authority as a whole, the Time Twisters. An Easter egg that could be the seeds of the reveal of the Timekeepers' big secret by series end. Now, in the comics, the Time Twisters are actually technically variants of the Timekeepers themselves. Because long story short, the Time Twisters were created at the very end of time by the last ever director of the TVA known as He Who Remains, to effectively act as the stewards of the timeline for the next universal cycle. The crusty old man's goal was to make these Timekeepers, give them these incredible powers to manipulate temporal energy, and then shove the combined knowledge of the entire last universal timeline into their brains so the next universe can learn from the mistakes of the past universal timeline. However, when he did this, he unknowingly split the next reality into two realities. One where the good Timekeepers were born and babysat the timeline, and one where the evil, mentally warped Time Twisters were born and baby shat on the timeline. It's all really super complicated, but basically the main goal of the Timekeepers and the Time Twisters are to make sure their team is on top in the next universal timeline cycle. Like, the Time Twisters really want to make sure that they get born at the end of time rather than their good guy Timekeeper counterparts. It's like this weird timeline war between these two groups of entities, with the Time Twisters even going as far as taking over the entire TVA by impersonating the Timekeepers at one point. Now, while I don't think the MCU is going to adapt that Keeper-Twister beef exactly how it went down in the comics, and thank God, because that shit was really complicated, I do believe that this struggle for power between these two groups could have existed nonetheless. In fact, there is a good chance that this conflict could be that multiversal war that Miss Minutes was talking about in that animated presentation. A war between the Timekeepers and the Time Twisters that somehow left the Time Twisters on top to shape the timeline however they saw fit. I mean, hell, we literally saw the sacred timeline being twisted together by the Timekeepers in the animation in episode 1. But hey, before I continue this video, I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Helix Sleep for sponsoring this video. Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to fit your needs and conveniently shipped right to your door. I mean, everyone's different and Helix knows that, and so they made a sleep quiz that matches your unique body type and sleep preferences to find the perfect mattress for you. I took the quiz and I got matched with the Dusk Luxe Helix mattress because I wanted a medium firm mattress with lumbar support that keeps cool. I mean, I've had my Helix mattress for a little bit now, and I've got to say, I freaking love this thing. I mean, I sometimes lose sleep thinking about the next day's video or just all my weird Marvel theories, but it's never because of an uncomfortable mattress. And the number one best part about all this is that Helix delivers your mattress right to your door, like for free. And it comes rolled up in a box, and it's super easy to set it up yourself. It's literally the coolest magic trick in the world that they can fit such a huge mattress in such a tiny box that size. Now, Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love it. And if you don't, you'll get a full refund. I love my Helix, and I think you would too. And if you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix. You can click the link below or go to helixsleep.com/rockstars and get up to $200 off your Helix mattress. Now, I don't know about you, but if I just want a major war for control of the time flow of the multiverse, I'm gonna make sure no one ever tries to steal my shit, because then I'm gonna have to fight somebody, and frankly, war? Not fun.
What it is a good for? Absolutely nothing.
And that right there could be the exact reason why the TVA exists in the first place. Not to preserve the sacred timeline like the Timekeepers said that they are doing, but to keep new realities with their own timelines from sprouting up after a Nexus event passes redline, because more timelines could mean more Timekeepers and or time twisters, and subsequently less power and authority than they have now, and maybe that's when we kick off another Timekeeper, Time Twister war. If the war even happened in the first place, because those time twisters impersonating the Timekeepers could be lying. Now, why do I believe that the Time Twisters could be involved in this season of Loki? Well, let's take a look back at that time theater scene from the first episode of Loki, particularly in the specific instance when Mobius is explaining to Loki that the Timekeepers have put the sacred timeline on an eternal loop. Play the clip, John.
You're lying. It's not true. It is true. That's the proper flow of time, and it happens again and again and again because it's supposed to, because it has to. The TVA makes sure of it.
And then immediately following this, when Loki goes to attack him for calling him a mama killer, Mobius uses the Time Twister on Loki and then says,
Or the Time Twister just loops you, not the furniture.
I believe that this moment was written 100% intentionally to foreshadow the true secret nature of these so-called Timekeepers. Because much like Mobius's Time Twister device that loops whichever sucker is currently, wearing the collar, the Time Twisters, taking on the name of the Timekeepers, are looping the events of the sacred timeline, keeping Loki and everyone else in the sacred timeline on the same hamster wheel of fate. But the question remains, why? Because if these time twisters are disguised as timekeepers and are trying to prevent the sacred timeline from branching out into a massive multiverse, what do they get out of this new twisted and regulated timeline? I think there is a good chance that it probably has something to do with quantum energy. That sparkly stuff Janet Van Dyne sent Scott Lang to go get to heal a quantumly up ghost at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. We learn in Ant-Man and the Wasp that quantum energy is some pretty god-level stuff. I mean, you have to remember that Ghost was time sick on a molecular level her entire life. And yet Janet Van Dyne was somehow able to stabilize her with this quantum energy within seconds, seemingly with the power of prayer. But it was actually quantum energy. It just looked like they were just having a moment. Never mind. That wasn't that funny. And since quantum energy is specifically what the TVA routinely monitors to track variance and variations to the timeline, it makes sense to me that this quantum energy could be the very energy that the Time Twisters could want to effectively hoard into one timeline. And every time a new timeline starts to branch off from a Nexus event, some of that yummy in my tummy sacred timeline quantum energy leaks out and threatens to decrease the overall power of the Time Twisters and, make new realities with new timelines where new Timekeepers and or Time Twisters could be made to fight with the other Time Twisters. It's the whole war scenario.
What it is a good for?
So what do these Timekeepers do? They hoard this multiversal stash of godlike quantum energy by putting everyone on the timeline, from Avengers to aliens to Asgardians, on a never-ending loop of fate. Because telling the story of the universe from beginning to end the exact same way every time ensures that the Time Twisters will always be in charge and will always be eating good every single time the universe recycles. Because their Timekeeper enemies would never exist enough to stop them from feasting on the combined quantum energy of the Marvel multiverse. Sentences like this is why I can't get laid. Because frankly, it's easier to prune the same tree that you've grown 1,000 times before because you know how the branches are going to grow. This is extremely similar to me to the concept of the Loom of Fates introduced in the story of Ragnarok in the Marvel comic. Because to free Asgard from the endless cycle of Ragnaroks that the gods of the Asgardians, known as those who sit above in shadow, were using the energies from to sustain themselves, Thor destroys the Norn Loom of the Fates, which then seemingly destroyed those who sit above in shadow with it. I think that this Lady Loki variant is seeking to do a very similar thing on a universal scale in the MCU by ending this restrictive looping of the sacred timeline and let the natural chaos of the multiverse just do its thing. And that our variant Loki that we're following might end up helping Lady Loki with this exact goal. Not because it's the right thing to do, but so every Loki in every reality has a chance to be whoever they want to be. Because I'm not sure if you noticed this, but Lokis really don't like being told what to do. And this is exactly where I believe Loki's character development lies in this series. Loki will go from this would-be ruler of Midgard who believes that he has the authority to decide all of humanity's fate, to a Loki who realizes the value in choice and free will after discovering just how shitty it feels to not be in control of your own destiny. That is one hell of a reverse Uno card from the TVA if I ever did see one. But that's just my theory. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the Time Twisters could actually be at play here? Or do you think that the Timekeepers have a different secret? Speak to me below, my nerd babies. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and be sure to follow me at MasterTainment on Twitter and Instagram if you want to see me post some weird random shit. But most importantly, please follow New Rockstars on YouTube and make sure to hit that notification bell so you can get notifications every time we upload new stuff. But you can also follow us on Twitter because, you know, we be tweeting. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you guys later.